Please raise your hand if you know someone whose life has been negatively affected by drug laws. Could be a cousin, a colleague, a friend, a family member. It could be anyone. But regardless of whether or not you know someone personally, the fact is that since the war on drugs was declared in 1971 in an alleged effort to reduce violent crime and drug use, hundreds of thousands of individuals' lives have been disrupted and destroyed by a system built around profit, punishment, profiling, and shame. I want to share with you a story that I came to know through a conversation with a social worker who serves communities in South Los Angeles. She told me the story of Jose. Jose was born and raised in South LA, and growing up, he did the best he could with what he had. Despite limited access to quality education and employment opportunities, by the time he was in his mid-40s, Jose was married, he had a couple kids, and he had found a way to support himself and his family by being his own boss. He was also his own PR guy, he did his own accounting, and he managed logistics and sales. By all accounts, he was a very successful, independent entrepreneur. Unfortunately, things took a turn for the worse for Jose when a routine traffic stop turned into a large-scale drug bust. Jose's product was cannabis, and back in 2005, when he was arrested, his business was illegal. He ended up going to jail for a while, and even after he did his time, paid his debt to society, he had a really hard time reintegrating. He had trouble partly because he had a record, but also because it was hard for him to deal with the idea of working a minimum wage job for someone else when he had been his own boss for so many years. So things are changing, right? It's 2018, there's new laws on the books. We've seen a lot of changes in drug laws here in California and across the United States. According to a lot of economic experts who write for publications like Forbes and Business Insider, cannabis is one of the fastest growing industries in the United States. Last year, the industry took in $9 billion of profits, and that number is expected to skyrocket to $47 billion by 2027. So this is huge. This is a very exciting time for business people of all sorts, new opportunities for growth, development, innovation, profit. But if we look a little bit closer, there are some very clear problems with diversity and inclusion in the industry. As things stand today, 81% of cannabis business owners and investors are white. Black ownership makes up only 4.3% of the industry. This is a huge problem because if we look back, historically, Black and brown communities have been unequally affected by unequal enforcement, profiling, and severe punishments. And now that things are changing, we're moving in a more progressive direction with the law. Our Black and brown communities are still missing out on opportunities to have a seat at the table and have their voices heard and bring back the profits into our own neighborhoods. So how do I come into play here? I am a user experience designer, and that means that I work to solve problems by understanding and empathizing with the people who use technology and products. And by doing so, I'm able to design things in a way that is user-friendly and that benefits the people who use that technology. So a few months ago, I participated in the 2018 SOLA Hackathon. Hackathons are events that bring together designers, developers, and business-minded thinkers to solve real-world problems. At this particular event, we were challenged to consider socioeconomic issues that face communities in South LA, things like gentrification, unemployment, recidivism, and poverty. And in groups of 3 to 4, we came together to prototype solutions that would address some of these issues. So my team decided to approach the issue by asking ourselves how we can help people like Jose. Jose's story instantly came to mind when we started to sit down and brainstorm. Something about his story really resonated with me and sparked an inner anger and a passion to create something that would help people like him achieve redemption and success and peace in their lives. So my team, we sat down and we asked ourselves, how might we help communities in South LA reap the social and economic benefits of cannabis legalization? The solution that we came up with is an organization we named GROW. GROW is not an acronym. The name comes from our mission to help people grow themselves as individuals, productive members of society, to grow their potential as entrepreneurs, and to grow thriving businesses within our local communities. We created a flowchart to really understand on a deeper level how our users would interact with this design system. We wanted to target two types of people. On one hand, we wanted to target people like Jose, who are re-entering society post-incarceration and already have the existing skills and knowledge of cannabis products, but may still have a lot of fear and apprehension or confusion about how to reestablish themselves within this now legal industry. We hope that by providing support and information about the logistics and legal issues surrounding starting a legal business, that they would be able to do so confidently and safely. On the other hand, we also want to help people who may still be working in the streets, who are at risk of entering the system. And by connecting them with vocational training and apprenticeships, and really connecting them with currently established cannabis dispensaries, we hope that they'd figure out ways to pivot their current efforts and legitimize their current business model. Overall, we really were focused on taking a strengths-based approach to rehabilitation and change. We wanted to help people shed the negative labels and taboos that can be associated with having a record. We wanted to focus less on thinking of people as criminals or felons or ex-cons, and instead highlight their resourcefulness, their ingenuity, and their entrepreneurial spirits. We're at a very important time right now in history. This industry is growing exponentially. It's not going to stop. It's going to keep going. And as community members and leaders, we all need to decide if we're going to sit and tolerate or even resent this change, or if we are going to stand up and drive it, take ownership over how it will affect our communities. So before I go, I want to ask everyone to really think, to really consider, how might we help communities in South LA reap the social and economic benefits of cannabis legalization by empowering individuals with existing skills and knowledge to help themselves and their communities? Thank you.